off on looking at what other countries are facing
I think,
first thing this
it
morning.
seems like a pretty good call to me.
I really am. I am. India and Russia, two kind of big mysteries right this minute.
Right? I mean, India went into full lockdown supposedly when they had 500 cases.
Right.
Right? And like a country of 1 billion people.
Has it always done that where it automatically just
Goes live?
opens up the tab for me? That's interesting.
Oh, I don't know.
I could probably mute that. That'd be good. Okay.
I mean, we're professionals, so.
Hey, BubbleViz in first.
Noise.
Sorry, Donna, what? Oh. Okay.
What happened?
Share. I got to share it on Facebook.
I can. I'm just getting in there now. I can do that too.
Okay. Where are you sharing?
Well, I will share to Twitter and my profile, and if you haven't gotten to the thing yet, I'll
Local Life. I got it first. Yeah.
Cool.
Yeah. So, yeah. Sorry. Give us a minute, guys, while we kind of get all this together. Join us live on YouTube. I hate that I've started calling it that.
I love it. I mean, we have so much to cover over the weekend too, because like this is really, I'd already made like a couple 2020 you should shut the fuck up posts, but I feel like I made like 6 of them this weekend. Like, hey, like,
yeah, the
tigers
Chernobyl
are
forest
infected now
fire.
too. Like, shut up. Yeah, right. Chernobyl forest fire. Like, I'm just like the hey, the meteor has entered the keyhole is like a thing that it's just gonna happen now.
Well,
for those of you that don't know what a keyhole is,
it's a comet, not a meteor.
Who cares? It's something that could hit the Earth and end all life on it.
Yeah,
it's all the same.
It could brush by us and end all life on Earth. Frankly,
right?
Yeah. I'm literally waking up from the alarms. Oh, geez. Better than YallTube, I guess. Yes, the southern version of YouTube is YallTube.
Now that. Okay. Cool beans. Jareed, thank you for sharing.
So, yeah.
All right.
Yeah, so please give us a like and a share if you'd be so kind. Back to your social media platform of choice, which is probably Facebook, but that's okay. If we're on your timeline, other people might decide to join us based on Corey's awesome shirt. That could happen. And the Baby Yoda and the Sasquatch, because that's what we do. I'm all Bigfooted out today. I'm wearing my hide and seek world.
Oh man, that's shirt. Yeah, that's pretty serious.
And
that's pretty serious.
I
like it a lot. I do.
All right.
All right. So what were we talking about? We were talking about some stuff off air, and you're like, "Why aren't we talking about this on the show?" I'm like,
okay,
I don't know.
So you saw some posts this morning from people that are generally level-headed and smart about how the numbers are down over the weekend.
Yeah.
Yay.
So okay.
Happy talk, right? Okay.
Right.
So first lay that out. Then I'm going to ask a question that I want us to talk about on the show.
Yeah, I think that because I agree that is an important question, and it's so I guess I want to caveat this by I mean, and you guys all know this. I've been sharing some very, very bad news on top of very bad news, on top of shitty predictions that come true, on top of shitty predictions that come true. And it's not very fun, right? To the point where the Dave Meyerses of the world are like, fucking, please, Corey, shut up. You're fucking panicking everyone. You're an asshole, right? And I get that. I really do. Because like,
I don't think he's actually said that, has he?
No, I'm paraphrasing, but not that much.
It would be something if you managed to out-depress Dave.
Yeah, seriously, like exactly. Like kicking him off his baseline of the whole world is going to shit is something for which I am not proud. Anyway, so Fred Krueger, again, the CEO of Lynx, mathematician, super smart guy, has been, on top of these numbers in a pretty good way from the jump. I would say a couple days ago said, we flattened the curve. We're going to max out at 1 million cases with 10,000 deaths. And I'm looking, if you look just strictly at his math, looks pretty good. But it requires an assumption that red states and places like Florida and everything else are doing a lockdown sufficiently that there won't be other hotspots that start to creep up.
Right.
So he basically posted yesterday, "Hey, we've turned the corner, everything." And when he said that, like, I thought maybe he just meant globally, because if you look at all the global charts, I think you can really make that argument from a global standpoint, right? Like, there's multiple data points, like multiple days where the number of new cases a day is dropping, right? In Spain, in Italy, and in like 10 different countries, which is awesome. But he's saying the same thing about the United States with 1 day of cases dropping. And that to me feels like happy talk. There's 7 different ways you can mathematically show that is not a good thing, and that it could absolutely be an aberration. Nate Silver actually posted about the fact that reporting is always down on Sundays.
Was that true across the other countries that we're talking about?
So the other countries that we're talking about, they have multiple days, like 5 days, where it's clearly trending down. Right?
No. Okay, but I'm asking you, if he's drawing that conclusion, okay, do those other countries have in their history over the past 60 days where reporting was down like this?
Oh, yeah.
Single days that were anomalous, 100%, that weren't a trend.
Yes.
So that would say that maybe his inference from that single data point,
right, which is
if every other state hadn't experienced those, or right. You see what I'm saying, right?
Yeah, and I think that there's some glaring variables that need to be looked at, right? So New York has the lion's share of cases in the United States. If they happen to be getting in front of it and their cases drop by a small percentage, it makes the rest of the country look like it's getting better, right? And we know that the California is seeing a significant multi-day flattening of its curve as well, right?
Seattle, Washington State as well.
Right.
Yep.
So the areas where it's struck the hardest so far, other than Louisiana, are seeing some benefits, and that could absolutely show. It's also entirely possible that there is just less reporting on Sunday. It's
right.
also possible that this was an aberration in the supply chain of actual tests going out. Right? There's like a million things that it could be. So, but I want to recognize the fact that, like, I'm over the happy talk. If you give me good news, you better fucking come prepared with a giant tanker, ship full of evidence. Otherwise, I'm just not going to believe you.
Okay.
Right? Like, the conspiracy theories and freaking happy talk this and happy talk that, and look at how many people recovered. If you look at the number of people that recovered versus the number of people that died, the death rate is 20% globally.
I just want to take a moment. I got called Honey Bunny in the comments. Please continue.
No, dude. Show over. We should end it right now. Especially for your face.
Yeah.
Like, yeah. Hey, so what? It's a fucking pandemic. I just got called Honey Bunny. I mean, honestly, yeah, fuck it.
I can go now. I'm good.
And scene. This show is now completed.
All right. So I think the question that I wanted to ask, and I have an answer for this question. What's the downside of happy talk? What's wrong with making people feel good about things, Corey? Why is that? Why are you so convinced? Why do you want to make people sad?
Why do I got to be such a buzzkill? Why do I have to tell people constantly that they're not fucking scared enough? Simple. The lockdowns.
Hey, who is this asshole?
I don't know.
Okay, he's got to go.
Okay.
In the comments, remove. Report.
Oh.
Yeah, hide
that
user.
Sounds fun.
Put this user in timeout. Bye.
Oh wow! Yeah. Look at you, you little piece of shit.
Is that showing up for anybody else at this point?
It said you timed him out.
Yeah, wow. I did.
It's some of it's still coming through.
Well, this is fun, dude.
Yeah. By the way, if anyone wants to volunteer to be a moderator, we can actually set that up so that if
What a dick.
yeah, right. What a wiener hole.
Yeah, Donna
yeah, we
says
can
Honey Bunny
actually.
was for her.
Eh.
Ginny says, did you guys see that the federal government is releasing PPE to commercial distributors, which is why the states are having to bid against each other? Yes. Did you see that California is creating a bidding union of states to bid collectively?
Yeah, that's
sort of like the
insane.
states. What would you call it if the states like came together for a common purpose? Oh, united, like the United States should be fucking doing on our behalf. You know, the federal stockpile apparently isn't the state stockpile, Corey.
Oh, for fuck's sake.
Yeah, it's our stockpile. It's not the state's
No,
stockpile.
Greg.
That's Jared Kushner. Yes.
They're just switching users.
Oh, that's awesome. Okay.
All right.
So somebody, we don't have any other admins, do we? Add moderator. Hey, Donna.
Yeah.
Oh, no. No. That's not what I, oh, geez.
What happened? Did you just delete Donna?
No, I made this guy a moderator.
Oh, dude, that's awesome. Okay, well, I
Yeah.
just removed him as a moderator.
user on the
That's
channel.
hilarious, by the way.
Jesus.
That's funny.
Where are you getting this 20% mortality rate, Corey? That's from Dave Myers.
Yeah, so if you take the number of recovered versus the number of dead, it's 20% dead.
Okay.
Right? That's with like cases that have a known resolution. And some people say, well, you know, some people get sick and they don't report when they get better. That's true, right? And some people get sick and die in their houses and never get reported at all. So, it's bad. And when we try and do the happy talk because we want to feel better, like people in this country are already fucking terrible at being locked down.
Right.
Right? Like everywhere. New York, here in Florida, people in churches, and don't get me wrong, like I would say like 70% maybe, just shooting from the hip, of the people in this country are actually taking this pretty seriously and they're doing pretty good. But like the conspiracy theorists are fucking psycho, Trump supporters are fucking psycho. And if we're gonna say, hey,
okay.
I mean, and they're the same largely. They have bad information. They're being fed bad information. They're sharing bad information, and so people are going outside to Walmart, and they're gonna get people killed.
Right.
So, at some point, we are going to absolutely see the other side and the downslope of this, right? And I want to get there. Maybe more than a lot of people because I haven't seen my wife in 2 weeks and I'm kind of a fan of her and I would like to fucking go home. Right. Yeah. But when you come out with one tiny little data point, say, hey, we've totally turned the corner. Well, no, we haven't. Right. And like you actually can't know that right now. And the worst thing that we can do right now is give anyone an excuse, any opening whatsoever to freaking, hey, it's time to go back to church. Let's put 1,000 people in a room.
Right.
Because that's what people do. Like the lowest common denominator will always react in the worst possible way.
All right. So I want to take a moment though. And I want to talk about another possible reason why people are not staying at home. And that's because they have no choice. I want to make sure that we're careful to recognize that there are people, and I linked you to an article this morning, and I don't know if you got around to reading it or not, but poor people are unable to do what is being asked of them because their rent continues, their need for food continues, their jobs continue. And a lot of those people are actually working in the medical system. And the specific example in the article is a young woman in Chicago who works as a home healthcare aide, which means she shops and cleans for people that are medically locked in their homes because they're elderly or they have other medical conditions. They can't clean and shop for themselves. She's making $13 an hour. She has no health insurance. She rides about a 20-mile round trip on the bus every day to cover the clients that she's assigned to. And she absolutely cannot stay home. She's making $13 an hour to expose herself to this every day and has no health insurance. And I want to make sure that when we see traffic out and about today in Pasco County, we need, my county, we need to remember that we live in a service-based economy based on serving the elderly, based on serving them food and medical care and the other services that they require. So a lot of the traffic that we are seeing out and about may not be just people jackassing around doing dumb shit. It may be them living their lives because they have to live them that way. And I want to be careful about the only people ignoring stay at home are idiots, because that's not true. The poor are going to pay a much heavier price for this pandemic than the wealthy, because they can't stay home. And there's data to support this. So I'm going to link that article right now. If you guys are chart and data hounds, this has some pretty compelling evidence, and it's based on cell phone data. The same thing that allowed us all to track that people in Miami, spring breakers in Miami were packed tightly and then all dispersed to their homes to infect more people. Exactly right, Jen. Staying home is a privilege for many, and it makes a clear distinction between people that can work from home at a desk with a webcam and people that can't, and those tend to be blue collar jobs, and those folks tend to be the working poor and the ones that are going to bear the brunt of this. So I just want to take a moment and advise some caution on stereotyping who is not staying home, because it's not all Trump supporters, and it's not all people that should know better.
When I say stay at home, that's not what I'm talking about. I'm talking about people going out and gathering for fun.
Okay.
Right. There are still people in New York going out for walks in groups.
How many of those people, of those 1,000 people that showed up for that church service, do you think are in the category that I just described? However,
probably none.
I don't think that's true. I think
honestly, like
that 20 or 30% of them are working poor.
You could be working poor. If you get into a room with 1,000 people, you're committing statistical murder, and I no longer have any sympathy for you.
No,
at all.
I can't go there with you.
No, I know. Like if you,
not everybody has access to the kind of information you and I do on a daily basis. Not everybody has the time to wade into it. People trust their clergymen to give them good advice. So who I really blame for this are the churches themselves, not the parishioners. If these people's church attendees were told, stay the fuck home, join us by teleconference, that's what they would do. And that church in Tampa that we're talking about, live streamed their services. So that guy, that asshole pastor, is compelling people who have less information than him to do so because Jesus. That's the culprit here.
Don't get me wrong. I'm a hell of a lot more angry at those, the people in leadership and people like Trump than I am from the average Trump supporter. But also, like, at what point does the average Trump supporter or religious person who just like gives up their, brain power to an asshole, like at what point are they responsible? Right? I mean, like, again, if you're having to go to work because that's the only thing you can do, I have 1,000,000% sympathy for that, because it's unfair. It shouldn't be that way at all.
Right.
If because you believe in a magic sky king and because your pastor told you it's okay, you walk into a burning building and then bring that fire out and like burn up somebody else who burns up somebody else, well, come on, figure it out. You know what I mean? Like I guess I'm all out of sympathy. I really am. Like, and maybe that's on me. Ginny said I shared a great interview with General Hanray, the Hurricane Katrina ground commander. He was actually on Chris Hayes as well. He was really good.
Yeah, he's amazing.
Yeah. Mom said, hey guys, the Inspector General came today with scathing report, woefully short on test kits and testing. Equipment is totally not enough beds or medical personnel. Yeah. I blocked 6 people this morning. One of them was saying that all the hospitals are empty and it's a big lie.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Yeah, that's unfortunate and shitty. And here's my take on the happy talk is bad for you thing. And this is an unrelated pet peeve of mine. Every once in a while, it happens less often now because Facebook has some safeguards in place that basically point out when an article is fallacious and you shouldn't be sharing it anymore. Interestingly, it's often in the thread where people have shared something bad and they don't seem to have read the actual thing that's right below what they posted. But here's the one that comes up every year: is it's allegedly from a sheriff's office in Florida saying that strawberry flavored methamphetamine is making the rounds in elementary schools. Right. So yeah, so it has a picture of methamphetamine that's pink in color, And it says that a local sheriff has said that, we need to be careful because kids are getting tempted by the strawberry flavored methamphetamine in our schools. There is absolutely 100% never ever been a single case of flavored methamphetamine, according to the FBI. Not one, not ever. It has never happened. And I will go into a thread where somebody's posted that and correct them and show them the Snopes link or the whatever fact checking link. If they, George Soros, I'll find another fact checking link and put it in there. And they'll say, well, it's better safe than sorry. No, what you're doing is lying to children about drugs. And that is never a better idea. Never, ever a better idea. Because what happens is if you lie to your 9-year-old about something like that, and then you tell them that pot is bad for you and will stunt your mental development, they're not going to believe that either. So you've planted a seed in them that all of your information about drugs is stupid internet tropes, and they're going to draw bad conclusions. My parents saw no difference between marijuana and heroin. They didn't see that there was a difference there. And so they were telling me that marijuana will make you think you can fly and jump out the bus window and gouge your eyes out with a spoon. And that's, that may be true for angel dust, PCP, but it's definitely not true for pot. And I knew this because by 7th grade, I was riding the school bus every day with kids that reeked of pot. And some of those kids actually got straight A's. So they were wrong about pot. So later, when I was offered cocaine and other harder drugs, I figured that everything my parents had said about those drugs was probably wrong. Guess what? There are drugs that are bad. There are drugs that will make you think you can fly. I would suggest to you, if you take one of those drugs, you try out the flying thing from the ground, not from a 4-story building. Just try from the ground first. And if you can fly, great. You will have learned something amazing. But my point is that we start lying to kids early about anything, then their view, as they learn things from other sources besides us, their view of what's accurate will become badly skewed. So there's an example of how, we not being accurate about things can have a negative consequence. And I think it kind of applies here, although Happy Talks may be a little different. But I think what it's going to do is encourage people to go outside before they should. Right? To believe that, since we burned down all the 5G towers, we won't possibly get coronavirus. Now it won't be activated by cell signals. They'll tell themselves lies about what's happening, or they'll believe the wrong people. They'll believe their pastor instead of the CDC. And I think that we should be careful of over happy talking this for sure. So I'm agreeing with you in a kind of a roundabout way.
Yeah, it comes down to having the value and principle around accurate information.
Right.
And yeah, that's just something that we should totally value. Yeah, Dave said based on the World Health Organization current numbers, mortality rate globally is 5%, and in the United States it's 2.5% or 5.5% or whatever. So that's all of the known cases versus the number of deaths. What I was talking about specifically is the number of people that have recovered versus the number of people that have died. So where there is a known resolution, right, the death rate is 20%. Now, the only reason why I'm bringing that up is because there's still, how many cases are there now? Like 1 million, whatever the hell there is, right? Well, like 800,000 of those people are still sick because they got sick last week. So we don't know, right? So counting them as a statistical good thing because their case hasn't resolved yet, I don't agree with. Now, granted, I had this argument with Michelle, and she's like, no, this is just how we do it. So like everyone currently with cancer, even though they're gonna die, counts as a positive because that's how we count it.
Really?
They're not dead yet. Yeah, there's no resolution. So and again, like when it's all said and done, do I think that the death rate's going to be under 5% globally when they're all resolved? Yeah, probably. And I hope so. But it's important to understand that this is still entirely, totally in flux, and half the numbers we're getting are not good. And again, the reason why I keep defaulting to, hey, maybe we should pay attention to the seriousness of this, and I know it's annoying, and I know that it's negative, is that I'm watching the vast majority of people outside of our little internet family get that wrong. Like they're, they put on the freaking Happy Talk glasses, and that's all the president's doing. He's like, no, he's all this morning, America strong, we're gonna fucking beat this, rah, rah, rah. And I get it, like being a cheerleader is fantastic if this wasn't your fault, which it very much is.
Yeah, I also, I don't think we're on solid ground saying that someone who has recovered from coronavirus is in the clear either. I think there's some indication now of people getting reinfected, or having weakened and suppressed immune systems from this that are unable to fight off a follow-on infection of a different type. So yeah, I think the only dumb thing I've ever heard Andrew Yang say was yesterday when he said the idea of military personnel purposely getting infected so we build up herd immunity. And I
That
was like,
wasn't his idea. He
"What?"
was saying that military people were actually volunteering for it. Which
I-
again, I don't think it's an idea that he should be pushing, but it's
No,
whatever.
no, maybe not his idea, but no, not no. I don't think that's a good idea at all.
Anyway,
Yeah. Boy, a lot of comments. A lot of comments.
Yep.
Oh, Lori Bersani, my shipped shopper scored me toilet paper. Grateful.
Yay!
That's gratitude. That's gratitude. Yeah. Yeah, can't pray at home. I agree with you, Lori, but people consider their clergy as guides for life. They listen to what those people say. I don't think that's necessarily a well-placed, advisorship. I have had some priests that have taught me amazing and valuable lessons about life and charity and hard work, but I've had other priests that told me dumb shit that wasn't true. So, but I will tell you for sure, the local Catholic churches are all closed down. They're not having mass. I don't know. It's almost like they have a 2,000-year history of dealing with pandemics in their populations. Hey, yeah, you're right, Dave. We will not know the actual numbers for years. We will, but it'll take a long time. Casey Marion, death rate numbers aren't meaningful in the U.S. because our testing is woefully inadequate. I think that's probably true. Yeah, 26 people watching, Corey, and only 14 of them like us.
Huh.
I know. That makes me very sad. Truthful information is out there for those of us who want it, but Jen, I would add the caveat and have time to look for it and have time to analyze it. I understand that that's a modern problem, and it's fairly new to the internet age that we have the ability to know everything, but we have to sort, what's actual knowledge from what's conjecture and speculation.
Right. So the people that don't have as much time to look into this are getting information from their idiot brother or dumbass uncle or friend they met down the street, as opposed to actual experts.
Right.
Because that's the whole, there were gatekeepers of knowledge before, and while that was imperfect, it was a lot more perfect than it is now.
Yeah, I think that's probably true. I'm with Corey on this one. Dave Myers says, I'm with Corey on this one. If you're listening to the magical sky wizard instead of scientists, well, the problem is they're not just endangering themselves. That's the problem.
Right.
And again, I put that responsibility on the clergy.
Fine. But at some point, like at some point, like I definitely I'm open to putting a lot more on the clergy because they are responsible for leading a flock. But every single one of those human beings has a working brain in their skull, and they are, to some degree, utterly responsible for their own actions. Like, they don't get a pass because they're stupid. Like, otherwise, every person who ever committed a murder, we should just let go.
Oh, somebody unliked us. Somebody gave us a thumbs down. Who's this knucklehead? Oh no, now I did it.
What happens if you press this thumbs down thing? Shit, not again.
I'm making trolls moderators and unliking us. I hate our show, Corey.
This is amazing.
Yeah, I'm like, what's this thing do? Her. Oh my goodness.
Oh my.
Yeah. Casey's putting in long quotes from Jared Yates Sexton, I think. There's an illusion of a government presented by a collection of criminals whose only concern is further dismantling government to accelerate profit and consolidate power. That's accurate. Free will and common sense from Lori Bersani. Free will and common sense are gifts that the magical sky wizard gives them. No? Yeah, you're right about that. But you know, I don't ever want us to forget that most organized religion is about authoritarian complexes. So they want us to have the information that makes us better followers, not information that makes us better human beings. There's a difference between those two things in most cases. Notice I'm not saying universally, because there are individual churches, individual clergy leaders who don't see it that way and want us to have all the knowledge we can hold. And they are often burned as heretics from within their
Yeah.
own
How
their
dare they?
authoritarian power structure.
If you press the thumbs up again, Greg, then you
I did.
get
I
rid
did.
of the dislike.
I did,
All right,
but
cool. That's good
but
to know.
I got rid of my
We're
dislike.
so new.
But I still have a dislike
YouTube.
for the dislike that was originally there, and I want to know who it was. I bet it was that asshole troll before we bounced.
I
him.
mean, they should. I mean, if we're not getting some dislikes, then like, are we really on the YouTubes? Like, is it real yet?
I want to be universally loved and valued, Corey. Like I don't know, some sort of religious figure. That's
Okay. All right. Well, I mean, that's it's good to have goals.
yes. It's why they are called a flock. Some shepherds are better than others. I guess that is absolutely true. And you know, I have a real grudging respect for the kinds of parish priests that I encountered when I was a kid growing up in the Catholic Church, particularly the ones that work in the poorest of areas, the poorest of neighborhoods, that you know roll up their sleeves and spend time with actual people. You know, I just do, and I do because they gave me valuable life lessons about service and commitment. And my mom, you know, the first thing she did when we landed, you know, feet dry in the African desert, was start up a collective sewing circle for women to earn their own pocket money, so they had agency aside from their husbands. Um, you know where she learned that? She learned that in the leftist socialist wing of the Catholic Church when she was a young girl. You know, and that's a valuable thing. And you know, I like that. There are aspects of organized religion that I respect, but there are other aspects like this thing. And it's not about attention. Just keep in mind, for a church like this one in Tampa, it's about money. It's about people in the seats donating money. That's what it's about. It's a business. So, and our governor agrees with them. They are an essential business. All church can't be in Minecraft, I guess. That's right.
For now.
Yeah. What are you doing, Corey?
I was just looking at some stuff.
Okay.
Yeah. Yep.
So yeah, I spent my hour and a half before the show this morning. I actually slept in a little bit, looking at up information about Russia and India particularly. It's fascinating to me that Russia has such a low case count. Turns out it's a mixture of it being such a massive country with large agricultural areas that are not, you know, condensed, and probably manipulation of data by the Russian government under Putin. I know that's shocking, but it
Yeah,
appears that
everyone's
they're changing causes of death on some folks. And
real surprised.
yeah. But they have a more authoritarian system there. Like one of the little clusters of cases that was discovered was because in an apartment building, a guy kept coughing in the stairwells, and his fellow apartment dwellers reported him, and the local authorities came, scooped him up, and tested him, and put him in isolation because he was positive for COVID. So people calling on their neighbors and getting them reported and basically arrested, detained, and tested is a thing that's probably more common in Moscow than it is in, say, Minneapolis. So there's that. But the thing about India is the article I read in the New Yorker this morning was that they're in the very beginning, and Modi did a good thing. He locked down the country, which had some knock-on effects that were not so great and are continuing to be not so great. But essentially, they're on it early. But even with that, they're going to have a massive problem. India is 1 billion people, and they do not have the ability to lock people down like China does. They're not an authoritarian system.
Well, and like has been established, right? Like the numbers of critically ill and dead people in this country skew to poor neighborhoods because it is a luxury to stay at home. Like it you know, it absolutely is.
Well, yeah, the shutdown in India had the effect of there are literally hundreds of thousands of migrant workers who work in wealthy provinces who suddenly found themselves unable to go to work and have to try to get back to their home province. So there's hundreds of thousands of people on the road with no food and no money,
Probably millions.
moving through other populations. Right. I'm said hundreds of thousands because I figured that was a conservative estimate, but
Yeah,
there's a lot of
that's
people on
probably
the
like in
move
one
with no
area,
money
right?
and
Like
no
a,
way to get home and
yeah.
no way to eat. The other thing is the medical expert that was being interviewed was talking about one of the biggest problems is that India has enough agriculture to sustain itself, but that food has to get from the farmer to the people that need the food. And with the lockdown, there's really not a great system in place to move that food and sell it. So he says the other problem is that most farmers in India, they don't know what a virus is. So when you tell them you're being locked down because of a virus, they don't even understand the underlying concept of viral transmission. They don't,
Mm.
if it's not a tiger or a bandit with a rifle, they don't really understand that it's a threat. And that's not, I'm not banging on the ignorance of rural farmers in India, but it's a real problem that if you can't convince somebody that there is a real threat because they can't see it or understand it, then how are you going to commit them to social distancing? And the other thing is that vastly in rural India, deaths from some sort of respiratory failure are not recorded. There's no central reporting system like there is here. Somebody here dies in some backwater corner of Arkansas. There is a record of what they died from, right? And that's not necessarily true. That's absolutely not true in most of India. Outside of the cities, it's not true. So
Right.
they're probably already having a huge influx of cases and deaths that we don't that are not going to be seen. So as Dave mentioned, we're probably never going to know the real number. And this is one of the reasons why, because India is only one of those kind of countries. I have a feeling that Africa is probably being hit harder than we think because their reporting, their structural reporting is lower than ours, than most of the developed West. And not everywhere, and not every African country. This doesn't mean Africans are lesser. It means that because of colonialism, they were not, when they declared their independence, they did not build up the kind of robust centralized reporting and protection systems that we built. And they're a little bit behind where we are, not because they're dumb, but because we didn't let them. Let's make sure that we,
Yeah.
put some anti-colonial spin on that.
For sure. There is something interesting. Casey's bringing up the TB vaccine,
Right.
and something a BCG vaccine or something like that. They're showing that they might have some effects for this, which I've seen in a few different places, which is awesome. Also, I think I had the TB vaccine in Canada back like 18 million years ago. I don't know if that would be relevant now. Anyways,
I want to say I was vaccinated for TB when I was a kid living in Africa, but I don't actually know.
it's interesting. So yeah, Casey said look at the numbers coming out of Portugal, Brazil, India, Ireland, Japan. For comparison, all those countries have longstanding BCG vaccine programs, and the numbers in those countries are pretty good right now.
Interesting. Oh, Kathy Brinkman, DeSantis is today telling religious people to social distance on Monday.
Yeah, on Monday.
That's literally Monday morning quarterbacking right there.
That sums up everything that he's done.
Wow.
Tells religious people to social distance on Monday.
Yeah.
So anybody have any good news? Because
no, not really.
I'm like, I'm getting tired of being a Debbie Downer. I would imagine everyone else is pretty sick of it too.
Fred's asking if we think we're getting accurate information out of Russia. Fred, I actually have an article from the New Yorker.
No.
I'm gonna post in the link here in just a moment that sort of answers that question with a maybe, but probably not.
I mean, just on its face, like, do you feel like you're getting good information out of Russia? The answer should start at no and then continue to be no, and then probably remain no.
You trust yet verify is what you're saying. That's the
yeah, exactly. Like the amount of evidence required to verify is 20x from anywhere else.
Right. Yep. Hey, Dino says he's had both of those vaccines thanks to the U.S. Army. That's a good thing.
That is a good thing.
That's a good thing. Yep. Maybe less COVID in Russia because citizens are so limited in allowable travel out of the country. That's not really true anymore. And most of their cases came in from Italy. So there is a lot of they did early shut down their physical border with China. and started testing everybody that came in from either China or India early. So they did some things early that the World Health Organization recommended. That was part of the article was talking about. They did institute almost the whole menu of World Health Organization changes right off the bat early, but that they may have already had community spread by the time they did that, which is that's the story everywhere. It was with asymptomatic people traveling in an open world. This is how that's going to happen.
Yep. Casey said, and thank you for this, Casey, because I did not understand how this works. The Bacillus calmette-guerin vaccine is a vaccine primarily used against tuberculosis. Yay. Right. Kathy Brinkman, I asked for good news. She delivered. I signed up to start back to college for my nursing degree. Start today with classes. That's fucking awesome.
Nice.
Yeah, Maria said, did y'all see the report the tigers are sick from human transmission of the Bronx Zoo? Yes, 2020 sucks. Although the fuck you Carol Baskin memes, I feel a little bit weird about it, but
I actually have a little more good information about that, Maria. It's actually 2 tigers and several other big cats, including some lions. They actually contracted it from a zookeeper who is now being treated for COVID-19. We have a local veterinarian here in Pasco County named Dr. Linda Jack. Linda is also, she was a candidate for state legislature a couple of years ago and a hell of a rock and roll drummer, which is a crazy thing. She was a touring musician for many years. She posted a long post last night about cats and COVID. And here's, I'm going to paraphrase what she said. And if I get any of this wrong, that's all on me, not on Doc. But she basically said that they have some of the same receptors for COVID-19 that we do in their lung tissue, and that there have been 2 cases in the world of dogs having COVID-19 and any number of cases of cats having it, but none of those animals became severely ill. None of those animals appear to be transmitting the disease onward from themselves. So it looks like that at least with cats anyway, is a dead end, that the cats do not get sick and they don't transmit it. So that's good. We worry about multi-species transmission because pigeons, pigs, animals that we interact with on a daily basis in our lives can be carriers of these kinds of things, but it's not looking like this was a mutated thing. It's because they have similar receptors to us. And the more similar those lung receptors, the more likely we are to transmit it to that animal group. So it doesn't look like the kind of thing we have to worry about where all of a sudden pigs are going to start spreading it or pigeons. Yeah. Now, it's possible that it could mutate. It's possible it could have already into some other animal populations that could transmit it back into humans in a modified form. And that's that's on the wait and see list. But the tiger thing, number one, the tigers are fine. They recovered. They're good. Number 2, it doesn't look like that's going to be a thing we have to worry about our house cats getting sick or transmitting it to us or other people. But you should keep your cats indoors anyway, because it's better for them. They live longer, happier lives when they live indoors. And they're less susceptible to things like feline infectious peritonitis, feline leukemia, and other things. Ask me how I know. Took care of many sick cats over the decades, and it's never pleasant. And you make their lives shorter and more dangerous if you give them outside time. Yeah, so that's my view on that. Can we talk about 45 stockpiling hydroxychloroquine to sell for his own interest? Yeah, okay.
I mean, do we know that that's real? I mean, am I ready to believe that? Yes. But do we have any actual evidence of that? Because if we don't, then no, I don't want to talk about it.
Yeah. I'd be interested to know who's buying the stock in the company that makes that drug at this point.
Yeah, like that. Exactly. Would it surprise me if we saw a perfect evidence chain showing that that's true? Not at all.
Or a number of senators bought it up with all the stock money they sold off from their travel related stock ownerships.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's possible. I'm really, I watched the briefing yesterday. I've been avoiding the presidential briefings. I watched the one last night in its entirety, and I was just horrified. He wouldn't let Fauci answer the question about hydroxychloroquine.
Yeah.
He basically bulldozed the reporter. He said, "Oh, you're from the AP. That's a gotcha question. The AP, not what it once was. Fuck you." Yeah, he goes right after the journalists. Right, he goes after their agencies and their reporting system. So that's been working. Yeah. So good advice from Dino. Do not let tigers lick your face. That's generally good advice.
Yeah, I feel like on a number of levels, that's really good advice.
There's
A, you might get a disease. B, far more likely, they might chew off your actual face.
Yeah, there's a scene from Monty Python's History of Life where it's colonial troops in Africa that are being attacked by the Zulus, and one of the officers, his arm is missing, and the doctor is poking at the and it's a joke. I think this is the result of a tiger. A tiger in Africa is the joke, but the first thing he lands on, it was some sort of an infection. He's missing an arm because of an infection, so it
Sure,
kind of
yeah.
plays. I have to find that clip. It's probably funnier when Monty Python tells it. Those guys were pretty good at the joke telling thing. Anywho,
Did anyone else see the John Oliver segment on OAN last night? No, but OAN is
Oh.
fucked up. I am ready to watch that for sure. Oh yeah, mom said Novartis makes it. They paid Michael Cohen 1.2 million for access to the president. Now, is that evidence? Yeah, circumstantial, but again, like it all fits a pattern, right? That's why I'm so ready to believe like literally any negative thing about this president is because I mean, why the fuck wouldn't we? There's been evidence after evidence after evidence.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah, Casey says hydroxychloroquine is made by about 4 companies. Interesting.
Fred said meaning of life, and it was his leg. He thought it might grow back.
Okay, so I had the wrong movie and the wrong limb. Yeah.
Oh geez, Bubba Viz. You might want to reconsider. I mean, like all you got to do, like every single time they've asked a question in the White House, it's literally like, "Hey, sir, could you please shove some dog shit down our viewers' throats, please?" I'm paraphrasing, but that's literally what the question is like. Like, hey, since you've handled this entire coronavirus thing better than any president in American history ever could have, what do you think about Hillary Clinton's emails? Like, that's like it's dog shit.
I'm answering Fred.
Yeah, Dina said the reemployment assistance program is literally a nightmare. Many of us are going to be running out of money, and I'm afraid that desperate people will do risky things.
Yeah, so I want to go back on that for just a minute and tell you, Dino, apparently the website is working better now. Ginny Rupert actually went through the system at like 2 a.m. last week, got it done in 14 minutes or a couple of nights ago. So maybe
Yeah, I heard
waiting
like
until late at night is the time to go.
Yeah, the 2 to 4 o'clock window is apparently good.
Sorry, I'm a huge Monty Python fan. Nudge, nudge, wink, wink. Say no more, Fred. Say no more.
Yeah, no, you don't ever have to apologize for being a Monty Python fan.
Aren't they all on Netflix? Is that an ongoing? I think all the Monty Python films. Now I want to watch The Meaning of Life. Except for the Mr. Creosote scene with the bucket. That's not my favorite. Other people puking makes me want to puke, and that scene, it's not good. It's not good. Yeah.
I mean, you're subscribed to us, Bulbavis, so I hope not. No, OAN is preternaturally fucking shitty. I mean, you can watch them. You can watch InfoWars. I mean, Fox News is better than OAN, like provably, which is fucked up.
In the same way that cow shit is better to eat than dog shit.
Yeah, basically, right? And by amounts.
It's got that chlorophyll aroma.
Yeah,
it's better.
Oh, anyway.
Ginny says she finally got through Saturday night 2 a.m. So maybe that's the ticket there, Dino, is take a nap, set an alarm, wake yourself up 2, and go give it a shot then. Maybe. I'm sure if someone had a lot of tile on their hands
I think he means
about
time.
stocks and such, tile time, okay, and find out who owns stock in this company, Corey. Can you do that?
Yeah.
Are stock listings public?
Well, Trump's definitely aren't.
Yeah.
So yeah, I mean that Novartis connection is legit because it had to be public record. Yeah,
oh, God.
I don't know.
You know, Belviz, I love you, man, but InfoWars was my preschool. I moved up. Oh God.
What, to here?
I mean.
Oh man. Well, Just so that we're on the same page.
Yeah.
And I mean, most of the people who are connected to me on Facebook know this already. It's been a longstanding thing that if you share a conspiracy theory in a comment thread on any one of my posts, I'll block you and kick you out of my life forever. That's a real thing. I don't apologize for it, and there's a lot of reasons for it. Basically, any Infowars post would have qualified, except that they're dead now. But now, if I'm scrolling through and I see any friend of mine on Facebook or any social media, I did it on Twitter, posting any misinformation whatsoever that's clearly, obviously garbage, I'll block you and kick you out of my life forever. This is not a joke. I will absolutely do it. So, and again, BubbleViz, we have an interesting relationship with you so far, and I want to be super patient with it. And you haven't shared any misinformation today. But yeah, my patience for it is at an absolute zero. I'm not going to do it.
So Dino followed up with this. Yes, the website is up, but approval and payments are not occurring. My case is still pending, and I don't know anyone that is receiving payment. So he's asking, is anyone in this thread getting unemployment payments? Not an issue that I have any experience with just yet.
Silvestri, Loch Ness Monster is real. Fight me. No, I mean, that's just science. I'm cool with that.
That is not.
I know it's not. I'm trying to be funny. Yes, you have been pretty respectful of our channel overall, BubbleViz. Thank you.
Yep, we appreciate that. We do.
Yeah,
we do.
Agreed.
Yeah, the commander of the Teddy Roosevelt tested positive last night.
Yeah, that's fucking dark, man.
I mean, how could he not? That was the whole point. Was you're on a ship with 4,000 other people that basically live in 4 stacked bunks. You ever seen the bunks in those ships? There's 4 guys. You actually hot bunk with another sailor, right? When you're on shift, they're sleeping in your bunk. When they go on shift, you sleep in the same bunk. Inevitably.
You're gonna get sick. That's just the way it's gonna work for sure.
Yeah. Michael says he knows several people, Dino, but no one is receiving yet. So Jarrett Yates Sexton, it's Palm Sunday and evangelicals are getting loud about the pandemic being a godly plague. We need to talk about how America was taken over by neo-Confederate hyper-capitalistic death cults. Yeah, that seems to be where we're headed.
This is
going to be fun for heretics like us, huh?
Oh. Yeah, Dave just said the Loch Ness Monster is real Sasquatch. Damn it. I mean that.
Show me the footprints. Show me the footprints.
The footprints of a water mammal, dude.
Who is reported to come out of the loch and wander occasionally.
Yeah, well, I mean, do they ever have footprints in a row? Show me a Sasquatch that walked more than 2 feet in a row.
I can show you a trackway that's 150 yards long that was filmed.
Fucking fine that you have an answer for that.
Yeah. And it was filmed about 8 miles from the nearest road in deep snow, which is pretty interesting.
In bear country.
Yes, in bear country. Yep. Yeah, there are trackways that are really actually kind of fascinating. So
anyway.
Yep.
Yeah, it's another morning where I feel like digging into my almost empty rum bottle. Fucking inspirational.
Yeah. In my head, I hear it as Bubba Elvis, but that's my brain. It says Boxer Cat.
Fair enough.
In Montana, we have the Flathead Lake Monster. I'm going to Google that as soon as we're off the air. Yep. I think Michael's asking if Nessie wanders out of the loch for truffle gathering. I don't know.
I mean, why else would you walk out of the loch?
Yeah.
But for the truffle gathering.
Yeah. Well, the loch is only 14 miles long, 2 miles wide, 600 feet deep.
No, it's more than 600 feet deep. It's stupid deep. Yeah.
It's been surveyed extensively using all sorts of sonar and radar sounding gear. And how would there be a breeding population of anything in that loch?
Thank you for explaining why Sasquatch is not real.
Sasquatch is reported over a landmass that is all of North America and a lot of Asia.
Everywhere where there are bears.
Hominids?
Sure. Giant brown furred animals. So you're right. It's actually a lot less deep than I thought. It's only 745 feet deep.
Yeah.
So I was wrong.
So like, this is the thing, like over time, you know, as an 8-year-old, I was interested in all of these cryptids, you know, Ogopogo, which is supposed to be one of the lake monsters up that lives in New York State,
Lake Ontario or whatever.
Right. Yeah. You know, I was interested in all of those, and I still am interested in them, but I'm interested in them as sort of examples of, as technology gets better, as research into them gets better, they get less and less likely. And the only one of those that kind of holds up to any of that kind of scrutiny about evidentiary value is large hairy hominids, and they make a certain amount of sense. They make more sense than 150-foot long snakes in the Amazon, or, you know, giant dinosaurs in Central Africa, which are also, you know, that's something we've heard reported before. And I would remind people that gorillas were legends until, I guess, 1890, when somebody came out of the jungle with an actual specimen. You know, that's how that happened. They've been reported as mythical beings for 500 years before somebody came out of the forest with a gorilla. The billy ape, which is sort of a larger chimpanzee that's sort of on the midline between gorillas and chimps, they weren't proven to exist till 1953, 1954. So, you know, just saying, Sasquatch kind of holds up over time, and there's a lot of footprints, and there's a lot of footprints with good provenance taken by actual scientifically minded people. So,
well, cool.
Yeah, I'm a fan of the flying spaghetti monster. May you be touched by his noodly appendage, ramen.
Ramen. Those are noodles.
Yeah. Yep, large hairy hominids. Yep. Yeah, I will do that, Casey. I will look up Sexton's Twitter thread. I promise you. Yep.
Yep.
So here's where we landed. People are dicks. Religious leaders are being irresponsible.
They're like 10x dicks.
And Sasquatch is real. That's where we landed on today's show. So always happy when we can bring it to a firm resolution.
April 2nd. That's 4 days ago. Bill Gates 4 days ago called for 10 more weeks of lockdown.
Yep. He's also funding 4 different efforts to find a vaccine, apparently because he created the coronavirus so he can get wealthy on the. You know.
Yeah, dude. Between like Bill Gates invented this because he's part of the 5G rollout, and it's 5G is causing coronavirus. Go fuck yourself. Completely off a cliff.
Yeah.
I just like with
you know, thumbs down to Sasquatch. If I can't walk around in the woods, nobody should.
All you need to do is just be invisible like Sasquatch, and then it won't matter.
If they're close enough to human, they could be susceptible to the same kinds of diseases that we are.
Yeah, and if there's a spaghetti monster behind the moon, that would be crazy.
It's not the same.
It's kind of the same.
No, like, it really isn't.
So are chimps or gorillas, are we concerned about them?
Yeah.
Why?
We should be.
Have any of them tested positive?
Well, they're not humans, they're pongids.
They're pongids. You're saying that they're
apes.
Sorry, that was snarkier than I intended.
I mean, where did Ebola come from? Where did AIDS come from?
Well, the U.S. government, obviously, to attack black people. I mean,
it came from monkeys and apes in Africa. So
right.
There is.
No, I'm not saying that. I'm not saying it's impossible. Just this particular thing. Anyway, whatever. Blah blah blah.
And I've got you arguing about Sasquatch. So that's always a good day for me.
That's always a victory. I get it. I get it. Well, so SpaceX loses another freaking. They lost SN3.
Yeah.
So like, even my version of the bet where they are tasked by NASA to get to the moon, which is legitimately a plausible win for you, even though I disagree.
Well, you're gonna break stuff. You know, I mean,
well, it's always been
NASA blew up a shit ton of rockets before they got anything successfully launched,
and they iterated a lot slower than SpaceX is.
Right. Right.
They've got SN4 and SN5 like under construction right now.
Right. And they're learning the stuff they learned from these first two failures is probably being applied to the new systems, you
Yep.
know, and you want to change as little as you have to make it work. Right. You don't want to, completely reinvent the wheel if you don't have to, if time is a critical factor. So I'm not going to be surprised if they lose the first 5, but they're probably building the next 6 in another building,
Yep.
So yeah, there we go. Flying Spaghetti Monster was invented to go after a school board who wanted equal time for religious and public schools, teach both Jesus and Flying Spaghetti Monster. Here in Florida, I don't know if you know this, but the Church of Satan is actually deeply invested in participating in that fight, and they do a really good job of it. They wanted permission to distribute a coloring book in Orange County, that's the Orlando metro area, and they won in court the ability to do so because the church had gotten just automatically been given permission to distribute a Jesus coloring book to students. And of course, the Church of Satan was denied the right to do the same thing, so they sued in court and they won. Interestingly, their coloring book was all lessons about anti-bullying. It was all illustrations of kids not bullying and learning not to bully.
Well played, Satanists.
Yeah, I'm a huge fan. I'm a huge fan of the Florida Church of Satan. Yep, that's good stuff. All right, so it's 11 o'clock.
Yep.
And I got stuff to do today, so I'm
Cool.
gonna go do stuff.
I like turtles.
Honey bun.
All right. Yeah, I'm very excited about your reaction to that.
Yeah, let's rock on out of here. We love you guys. We may spontaneously show up on Facebook and do a live feed if we have something we want to talk about. But we'll be back here for sure Wednesday morning, 10 o'clock for another riveting edition of Happy Talk Sucks. Hashtag coffee on the So Local Live Network. We thank you for joining us today. We are always grateful when you join us and when you share and when you like us and help us bust spam bots. By the way, if anybody wants to volunteer to be a moderator in these threads, we would certainly welcome that. There's
even like on a
probably 8 of you that are here every time we go live.
Yeah,
it would be really helpful.
Yeah, if there's any of you that even when you pop in to say hi, I'm cool to moderate today or whatever, that's fun.
Yeah, or if you want to, do that on a regular basis, shoot us a message on Facebook, and we'll make it happen. Yeah. We all good? What are you up to today, Mr. Man? You still on lockdown?
Yeah, still on lockdown. Okay, some good news actually. I was talking to Michelle yesterday. She is excited enough about the way that the VA is handling things so far in Miami that she thinks it might actually be safer for me to be at home because groceries are constantly coming into this house from all sorts of different places.
Right.
So that's a possibility. I mean, I got to wait here to get Brian's stitches out anyway, but that was legitimate good news, right? Like her confidence in her working situation kind of was always the key sticking point,
Right.
But they're being super good about it. So that's good.
Hey, what, before we go, I wanted to say that I spare a thought for people that aren't cohabitating, who have to live in isolation, because some of us are lucky enough to have roommates where we can have a pass by hug, and some conversation, and not everybody has that daily human contact. And I've been thinking about those folks a lot, and I don't know what to say to them to encourage them, except that there's an end to this. There'll be time for us to get out and about later. And I wish you all well. And I know that's not easy. And I'm privileged to have someone that lives with me that doesn't mind a hug now and then. So thank you, Laugh Track, for being here for me.
And makes coffee and brings coffee, laughs at all of both of our dumb jokes in a way that is the best 30-second delayed hilarious thing that this show has going on for it. So,
Yep. All right. We're really grateful for you guys. We love you very much. And we will see you on Wednesday. Sasquatch is real. Bye. Oh, I didn't end it.